Not too long ago, you were the man or woman. You were crushing your workouts and excelling at your job. You were kicking ass and taking names in all fields of your life. And suddenly, it stopped. All your motivation and enthusiasm screeched to a halt while the world kept speeding past you. Why does this happen to us? One day we're on fire, and the next we couldn't be bothered to lift a finger if we were actually on fire. Well, here's the 3-step process I use to get heading back in the right direction instead of feeling like I'm spinning my wheels. If this is your first time here, my name's Christian, and I'm an ultra runner and a US Navy veteran. Rather than flog yourself over a slip, embrace it as simply an integral part of the process of change. Punish yourself and you just made a second mistake, because holding yourself to an unrealistic standard is a pattern that can lead to defeatism, a shame spiral that can take you out of the game altogether. So what is ultra endurance athlete, podcast host, and author Ritual talking about here? He's talking about being gracious with yourself. Graciousness is simply the quality of being kind or generous with someone, and that can extend inward too. When you feel like you're stuck in a rut, it's very easy to be angry with ourselves for our lack of productivity, or feeling like we've taken 1 step forward and 3 steps back. It's important to recognize that no matter what you're working on, be it ultra running like me, or growth in your career, or just trying to become a better version of yourself, everyone falls off the wagon from time to time. And just because you had a temporary slip up doesn't mean you need to be angry or self-deprecating, because life isn't going perfectly. That's why the first step in getting yourself out of a rut is simply to take a deep breath and recognize that it's okay to feel this way. If you start trying to force the issue, then all you're going to do is make the process of getting back to where you were so much harder and more stressful. The next thing I do when I get stuck in a rut is start with small changes. For me to illustrate how important this is, I have to first explain what a rut is in terms of what's happening inside your brain. Harvard Health Publishing actually has a really interesting article about this that I'll link below, but in summary, we get stuck in ruts because of our brain's habitual electrical patterns. The neural network inside of our brains works in such a way that it takes past experiences and tries to apply the rules and patterns that got us through those events to our current situation. This is because our brains want to be efficient and often, just like us, wants to be a little lazy. In order to do that though, it applies old thought patterns to new events to avoid the chore of new learning. In his book, Dr. Play recommends adding what he calls unfocused time into your day to help turn off the regions of the brain that rely so heavily on pattern recognition. Activities like going for a walk without a specific destination, daydreaming, or taking a nap. If you're like me and maybe you have young children or just an exceptionally busy life, so you can't find the time in your schedule to go for a meandering walk, then something else that I found that works really well for me in starting small is to make a to-do list, with the first item on that list being something incredibly easy to accomplish, like finish making to-do list. Make it something that you are 100% certain that you can do right now. Being able to accomplish something on your to-do list will give you a little hit of dopamine that you can ideally use as momentum to start some of the other tasks you've laid out for yourself. On days when I really don't feel like I have it in me to go for a long run or tackle a big workout in my training, I'll use this method with the first task on my to-do list being fill water bottles or put on running clothes. Even though the idea of having to go run for 3 hours feels way too big for me to handle, I know for sure that I can change my pants and put on my shoes. Once I've done that, it feels a little weird to just be sitting in my living room with all of my running gear on, and it helps give me that extra little push to cross out a few things on my to-do list and get out the door. And finally, the third step that I use is to recognize that long-term, the goal is consistency, not intensity. Would it be awesome if I could go run for 20 hours straight and be the world's best runner? Of course it would, but we all know that that isn't very likely. Now, more realistic is that a few runs this week, followed by a few next, and then on we go to take advantage of the compounding interest that comes from many days stacked up over time to get stronger. This doesn't just apply to fitness or running, but pretty much in any area of life that you feel like you want to continue growing in. If the place you're starting from is just trying to get healthier, then you don't need to go vegan tomorrow and start spending every waking hour in the gym or out on the trails running. You can start with just adding in a 15 to 20 minute walk to your day. Then once you've done that consistently for a while, you can start switching out some of your snacks with healthier options for a few weeks. Then, as you continue on this path, you can find a workout plan you like, or start trying out healthier recipes for your dinner. It doesn't have to be all at once, and in fact, I would argue it shouldn't be all at once. If you want to get out of a rut and stay out, it's much simpler to make steady progress over time by being consistent. One last thing to note, having patterns or habits is a good thing, but done for too long, it can feel like life has lost its luster because there's no longer any surprise or things to look forward to. Sometimes we have to stray from the well-beaten path to find that, as they say, variety is the spice of life. Even though the unknown can often feel unnerving, the reality is that the unknown is where some of life's greatest adventures are hidden, just waiting to be found. So as you feel yourself coming out of that rut, don't rush straight back into what got you there in the first place. Keep some space in your life to add variety to the things that you enjoy. If you love running, go run on a new trail or in a neighboring city that you don't know very well. If you love movies, then try out a new movie theater that's next to a restaurant you've never been to. Our brains will always try to find patterns to conserve energy, but it's up to us to find small joys in life that provide novelty. Anyways, that's it for today, and I'll see you in the next one.